Are you prepared? Are you prepared? Are you prepared? I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would you please stand and join me in the pledge? Hey, might be a good day.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Rachel, roll call.
Councilmember Larson,
Yes.
Councilmember White. Present. Councilmember Dan Hahn,
Present.
Council President Cox. Present. Councilmember Stubble, Councilmember Josh Hahn,
Here and accounted for.
Mayor Richardson.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is there any right approval of agenda? Do we have any corrections or amendments?
Yes.
Councilman White.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to propose amending the agenda on, this is section 8, new business, on the LEDA recommendations for lift funds for us to review each of the applications individually.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay. Call for the, excuse me, I was a little fast. Need to call for the approval agenda with the changes made.
So moved.
A second? No. Okay. A second.
Oh.
Yeah. Good. Motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Stubble. Approve the agenda as presented with the changes on the lift fund recommendations to individually approve each item. Gonna call for the question. Councilman Larson?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, next on our agenda is communication from the floor, public comment. Please state your full name for the record. And you'll have 3 minutes to comment, limited to 3 minutes. So anybody from the floor? This is the comment time. If anybody has any public comment, this is the time. Okay, since there is none, we'll move forward. Mayor and council updates. Let's start with the council. Councilman Jehan.
Yes, I just wanted to let people know that we have Lander Volunteer Fire Department open house. They'll be doing the open house on the 12th, and I believe that starts at 6 and goes until 8. And all public is invited to show up. They're gonna have, I believe, Guardian is gonna fly the chopper in, and they're gonna have another burn cell, which is really cool to watch and learn from. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Stubble.
Thanks, Mayor. Feels like it's been a whirlwind for me the last few weeks, so I think, I just have, though, for the city liaison, I just have one thing. The Energy and Environment Task Force met last week and reviewed a pretty in-depth presentation they're planning to give to council sometime this fall per our strategic planning goal to have a greenhouse gas goal. 2 goals in that sentence. Our intention to have a greenhouse gas goal. They're going to come and give a presentation. I think they're looking to get on the agenda at a coming work session. So they reviewed that. And tomorrow the Conservation District meets. So please let me know if there's anything to take to that meeting. They're still seeking public comment on their 5-year plan. I forget what they call it, but strategic plan. Essentially, public comments can be given through their website. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. The Family Resource Center for School District Number 1 will be opening. They actually had kind of a soft opening last night, and they did a Native American culture night. That is located at the Old North Elementary School building, and they're going to be doing other activities and other, there will be other resources for parents and for community members as well. So be looking for that on their website. And I think, and then, of course, Lita met, we'll be addressing some of that information later in council, so I don't need to prolong that, and that is all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Hahn.
Thank you, Mayor. All I really had was the Second Street projects that have been done down here look really nice. They look good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman White.
Thank you, Mayor. A few things. Senior Center met this morning. The Wimpy Burger raffle went exceptionally well. They planned on doing 200 meals, and then that sold out instantly, it seemed like. So then they added 50 more, which likewise promptly sold out. So then they added 50 more yet again. So they'll actually be doing this, providing them on October 28th, and they would love to have any volunteers who are interested to help assemble and get out to the door. It's a takeaway event for that. They're also revving up for their pie sale for Thanksgiving, as well as cookie sale for the Christmas holidays. And there's info about what's available and prices and when you need to order by on their Facebook page. And the city Facebook page is also carrying that information. So good things going on there. Both Councilman Larson and I were at an event coordination meeting last night. It's really nice turnout for that, and nice to see if there's ways that we can run things more efficiently, kind of minimize some of the challenges that all of those face. Two things I learned last night that I think would be helpful for the public. There's apparently actually a list of all authorized food trucks through the county. Like, who knew? Everyone tries to find out for their different events. So that's one thing that can make that simpler. The other one is that the TAD grant, the Tourism Asset Development Grant that the chamber administers through our lodging tax dollars. They've expanded what it can be used for, and now it can be used for things other than only advertising. So it could actually be used for event support. So that's a nice change, and hopefully we can get the word out about that. Appreciate once again all the effort that many business owners did to have First Friday be a successful and robust experience. It's great to see that. In terms of liaison, the Planning Commission has met a couple of times, and I continue to be so impressed with the level of engagement and just such thoughtful conversations that they have, and really trying to be smart about that. Continuing to work on some of the concerns about housing, both in terms of that particular group, and I continue to be part of a statewide group having conversations about that particular topic. It's not just Lander, that's for sure. And I would agree with Councilman Hahn. Not only is that both sides of Second look really good, and while I know the loss of parking spaces was a bit of a consternation for some of the business there, at the same time, I have never seen traffic move so smoothly now. It used to be like backed up and hard to figure out what's going on, and it is now just consistently really smooth. So I appreciate that. I'm getting there. I'm getting close to the end.
Oh, you're not.
If you've not checked out the pickleball courts, I'm not a pickleball player, but boy, they are the Fremont One rededicated them, and wow, are those things getting used? Who knew? Lastly, in terms of air service, September was once again a strong year. We were just under 17% higher than last year's September, which is great. Once again, high records. It was the fourth highest employment in 20 years in the month of September. And we are at this point well over that 10,000 threshold. We're just shy, or at the end of September, we were just shy of 11,500 employment. So it's continuing to be used quite strongly for that, which is lovely to see. Thank you, Mayor.
Good. Thank you. Councilman Larson.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Just wanted to let everyone know that we got the lease signed for Lotron there at the footprint of the building there. And got that all taken care of. With the solid waste district, the new scale house should be in use by next week sometime, 16th, and then the Du Bois scale house is supposedly in use by now if they kept on schedule. Just judging from the amount of people and so forth, for the soccer tournament here this last week, holy buckets. You know, every piece of green grass that was available, you know, there was soccer games going and it looked very successful. That's all I've got, Mayor. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. I'm kind of like Julie. It's been a whirlwind the last few days. I've been interviewing people over at WRTA for a new director as Gary Michaud is leaving us. And found we've had some good candidates come out of this interview. We finished up today. So it was awesome to see the people out there applying that are qualified to do these jobs. That was the FK director and WRTA director. So it was real promising. I was worried for a little bit, but it got better as the time went on. So some good applicants applied.
Was that a combination job, Mayor? I mean,
It
like
can
it was
be,
with Gary?
yeah, it can be, but we can either go either way.
Okay.
So, you know, we got a great transportation director. He that applied from, I won't say names, but he applied from the University of Wyoming. He's a director down there. So he has the skill set.
Yeah.
And and then we had another lady that had a bachelor's in accounting and stuff that applied for the FK spot. So we've had some good quality people applying.
Good.
So it was good. I went to the ball court grand opening. I didn't see anybody. They wanted me to play. I says, I don't have my right tennis shoes and I don't have shorts on, so I'm not getting out there. So, but it was quite interesting as Missy referred to it. There was people from Thermopolis there and coming over to play pickleball. They're talking about tournaments and hosting tournaments, pickleball tournaments. I'm going, whoa. I didn't know it was such a big thing till I went to the grand opening. So, but great things are happening in Fremont County. Hope people see that. So, like I said, good things. So just busy times. Let's move to staff reports. Chief?
Don't have much. The only thing I have is we did get the bulletproof vest grant. So that's in-house. Our vests are still good until October of next year, but we wanted to get that grant done so that we don't end up running right up to the cost of it and then find out we don't get the grant and end up having to pay everything out of our own pocket. So that's in-house and that's a part of our plan. They are good till the end of it next October, but we'll work on replacing them probably around starting in January and should have them in-house by May. So besides that, it's the same old on the streets right now. So if you have any questions.
Questions? Nope. Move on. Lance?
Yes, Mayor and Council, just a few updates. Second Street, North and South did get done, those two blocks. Cliff is ready for pavement, but unfortunately 71's paving machine is down. So it looks like next Monday until we can get that street finished up. And then we're in the middle of Paposia, hoping the weather doesn't come in too hard on us and we can get that block finished up. Little worried about when paving is going to shut down and what kind of condition we'll be in when that happens, but we have backup plans that may include not getting pavement down or just putting in millings or other things towards the end of the year if we can't quite get it. But if we can get the water line buried, connected, and new connections made, that would meet our goals for this year and have to carry over into next if that happens. There was a little blasting that went on yesterday. And so a third of the rock around the existing tank has been removed. And I think that they're blasting again tomorrow around 10:30. So if you wanted to go check it out, you can get somewhat close. They're going to keep you back far enough away. It'll be Mortimer Lane or somewhere out of the way, but they're removing some of the rock to get a big enough pad to have everything set up for next year when the tank builders will come in and working on that tank. Water usage is down. We're starting to see everything taper off. Good for our systems and our valves that we've installed and operations are working really well for not having that 2 million gallons worth of storage in our system. So unless you guys have any questions of me, that's kind of the major construction things going on and starting to get ready for the change in weather. So we'll be there as well.
Councilman Larson?
Yeah, Lance, I was just curious. So do we have any more major water line replacements that needs to be done here before winter bites us in the butt.
No, if we get the 4 blocks, we're there.
Yeah.
This last block was one that we could have ended a little early, but made the decision to push through. And instead of just making a connection and coming back next year, we're gonna try to get the whole block done now.
Good.
Missy did send me an email earlier about how much we've spent on this, and I think we're, all subcontractors, concrete paving, help with the excavating through Precision Dirt Works, and then all the materials that we purchased. We're at 280,000 for the 4 blocks, and I told her I think we'll be at 350 by the time we're done. So it's not cheap, but it's, it's a way to get it done. It's cheaper than having it just solely contracted out to do it this way. It's taking a lot out of our guys. I can see it in their faces, and I'm like, I'm sorry, one more week or two and you'll be there. But it is getting these replaced and connected, and hopefully these people have a much better winter because of it, that we have the services lowered and connected and the lines fixed.
Yeah, I talked to a fella that bought his house in 1969. They're in Vietnam, and that water line has froze every year since 1969. So that was crazy.
Yeah, I was just wondering, where is that coming out of the 1%?
No, that's,
Where's that money coming from to repair?
there's some coming out of the 1%. I shouldn't say just no. So the pavement is, and some of the concrete work, that's what we're billing the optional 1%, but this is the maintenance funds for the enterprise. So it's replacement money. When you pay your water and sewer bills, that's replacement fund money for a lot of the underground work.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Mayor. Lance, just a comment on the parking spots on Second Street that Jason, Lori Hunter, and the other business owners were concerned about. I think there were 2 issues for me there. The question about parking spots or not being one that has been resolved, but I think the second one was it was a surprise to them. So I don't know if communication was attempted to give them a heads up about that change. And if so, thank you. And just as a note, if not next time, that's a significant impact for a business owner to be surprised by. So just please consider giving a kind of heads up next time around too.
Yeah, and I do see, I sat down with them, we had some
Thanks.
conversations back and forth, and I think that they were surprised as well. I said, we make a lot of decisions, we can't tell who's gonna be sensitive about what issues sometimes until after it happens. We have looked through some options with them. I told them that we'd look more at that Second Street light, maybe in some future studies and some other things that we can look at that would talk about parking. We're also looking at parking requirements downtown. I think planning commissions going over that a little bit, and some of our processes really didn't catch maybe some parking should have been provided for off-street parking as well. So there's lots of discussion to be had, and we'll work through it with them and try to find solutions.
That's great. Mayor, if I may, thanks so much for meeting with them after the fact. It sounds constructive, and I think that probably helped assuage, maybe not the initial impact, but some of the concerns after the fact that they were heard and listened to, and you had those details worked through. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for your comment.
Thank you. Anybody else? Regine?
Thank you, Mayor. Like Councilman White said, the Planning Commission is working hard on the Title IV upcoming changes. They have offered to go around and do a public circuit prior to the first reading of the ordinance. So in a meeting or two, we'll be putting out assignments. We're going to go out to homeowners associations and realtors and give them an update. And so I'll let you guys know when those are. And we might have a town hall prior to the ordinance reading. Haven't decided on that one yet, but we are trying to get the word out publicly before we have the first reading. And that's all I have. Unless
Any
you have
questions? There's none. Shari?
We had WAMCAT last week. Beth Blackwell spoke. We submitted a letter asking for the reduction of the interest rate. She said we could now the open period had closed. So we did submit a letter for a reduction of the interest rate for all of the loans that we currently have with SLIB. She did say that on the November 2nd meeting that they're going to be talking about increasing the rate on the capital construction loan by 2%. I believe Monty and I are going to go down to that and testify because that would have an impact on, that's the funds we're going to go after for the assisted living and the cost of the assisted living. So we'll go speak to that and hopefully they won't raise the interest rates on that. Other than that, I've had the auditors in all last week and this week, so good times. That's all I have.
Thank you. Adam,
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Rachel,
I don't have anything either. Thank you.
all right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is item A, approval of regular city council meetings, meeting minutes, September 12th, 2023. Approval of regular city council meeting minutes of September 26th, 2023. Approval of work session minutes, September 26th, 2023, and approval of bills and claims. Questions, concerns about any of those? Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I guess
Second.
a motion by Councilwoman Cox, second by Councilwoman Stubble, approve this consent agenda. Call for the question, Jay Han?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on, unfinished business, action item. Third reading, 2023-3, amending Title 12, Section 12-3-3, Parks and Recreation, allow for regulations of all parks through adopting individual park rules. Rochelle,
Ordinance 2023-3, amending Title 12, Section 12-3-3 Parks and Recreation to allow for regulation of all parks through adopted individual city park rules. Whereas a provision for city park rules specific to each municipal park should be included in Section 12-3-3. Now therefore be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Lander in the state of Wyoming as follows. Section 1, Amendment 12-3-3 Parks and Recreation of the city of Lander Municipal Code is hereby amended as follows. Before the amendment, 12-3-3 Parks and Rec, A, city park rules, hours of operation, all parks and recreational facilities within the city owned and maintained by the city for the public shall be closed between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. each day. And it is unlawful for any person to be in any such park or recreational facility during these hours with the following exceptions. A, overnight camping shall be allowed in city park at those spots which are expressly designated and marked for that purpose. Overnight campers are limited to staying no more than 3 consecutive nights or staying longer than a period of 72 consecutive hours. There shall be no fees charged for camping in a city designated camping area. B, while city recognized organized activities are occurring, such as softball games, rodeos, etc., the park shall remain open until the organized activity is finished. C, persons using the city park access road in order to access private residences located on the city park access road. Number 2, persons found to be in violation of Section 12-3-3A shall be notified by any city employee, including Parks and Recreation employees, to vacate the premises, and in the event they fail to do so, shall be guilty of trespassing within the meaning of the Lander City Code Ordinance 7-5-1. After the amendment, 12-3-3 Parks and Recreation is proposed to read: A, individual city park rules. All parks and recreational facilities within the city maintained by the city for the public shall have park rules for each park location as created by resolution and approved and adopted by the governing body. Each park location shall have posted signage listing park rules pertaining to each location. Section 2, a violation of this ordinance shall constitute a misdemeanor unless otherwise stated, and upon conviction shall be punishable by a maximum fine of $750 or imprisonment of not more than 6 months. Forfeitable bonds will be as set forth in the Lander Municipal Court bond schedule as adopted from time to time. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Section 4, severability. If any section, subsection, sentence, phrase, or clause of this ordinance or the application thereof to any person or circumstances is held invalid, such invalidity shall not affect the other provision or applications of this ordinance, which can be given effect without the individual provisions or application. And to this end, the provisions of this ordinance are declared to be severable. Section 5, this ordinance shall take effect from and after its passage, approval, and publication as required by law and the ordinance of the city of Lander. Proposed passed on the first reading, September 12th, 2023, passed on the second reading, September 26th, 2023. And this is the third reading, October 10th, 2023.
Questions?
Or we,
Okay,
Please.
question?
I was just gonna
Go ahead.
move to approve it. And then go to discussion. So I'll move to approve.
Take a second.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilwoman Cox. A second by Councilwoman Stubble to approve the third reading of ordinance 2023-3. Questions?
Was,
Councilman
please, was anybody from the city, notified or asked about campers being parked on that new lot that the city purchased? Cause there was like 15, 20 campers parked on that 9 acres Hermansky's property that you guys purchased. So it's just pre-rain or?
Yes, it was that day. I think it was soccer weekend, wasn't
It,
it?
it was.
Yeah,
and
there was places. people
Trust me, they
looking.
were having fun.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's something we need to be aware of.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, nobody coming contacted me, but we'll make sure that Lori's on top of it. Probably should. So. Questions, Councilwoman Stubble?
Not a question there, but a comment on the ordinance. I've actually heard very little from people about this ordinance, but that not, notwithstanding that, I'm pretty excited for the degree of flexibility this allows council to do rules specific to each park. Each park property has slightly different values and resources. And I like the flexibility of being able to change those rules as needed by resolution as well. So very excited to pass this reading and get to work writing the resolutions for each park.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead.
in response to Councilman Han's comment, that's the whole reason why we were doing this, is so that we could establish rules to be able to limit where people are going to be camping and allow, well, and it gives a little bit more direction for our police department to kick people out if they need to. So that's why we wanted to do this, so we could come up with specific rules for those areas for different parks.
Thank you.
So, oh,
Councilwoman White?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I would say in response to Councilmember Stubble, mostly what I've heard from folks is not quite understanding it. And they think it means we've either said yes to camping or no to camping or various things, when in fact, all we're saying is we want to be able to have different rules for different parks.
And you can
And once they
change it.
understand that, like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
We can change it as
Yeah,
needed.
yeah, but there's
No.
been some misunderstanding about what this ordinance means, in particular about camping, and that's all it's saying is we will be able to create site-specific rules.
Councilwoman Cox? You have something?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I did have a couple of things. I know that we've discussed this in the past, and I know that there could be some discussion currently happening with the school property that that we lease. And what, is that still in discussion about, and as it relates to this new ordinance, is there, it's covered in whatever they want to do in whatever capacity?
I'm seeing if somebody that came in was Lance. We do have a meeting with Travis of the school district
Great.
next Tuesday. And that will be one agenda item is, following the school rules in addition to having city park rules.
That's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
And then I also, and this question would be for the chief, as you may or may not know, and I know you know, but maybe some of our public doesn't. We do have some folks that might be living in the park occasionally. In the event that we have those circumstances happening, do we have any type of procedure where they can be referred to housing? Is there anything available for officers? They come on, they see that this is clearly beyond the 3 days. Is there a way? Because you're talking about broken down vehicles. I mean, there's some movement issues. And so I'm curious if we have something in place, and if not, if that's feasible.
We have a few things in place. I think what you're getting at is the folks, we have an ever revolving door, about 3 or 4 every year, where they're there for one reason or the other. I mean, we have a few resources like, or trying to actually see it here. There's a few resources like we've actually run into where people with children, so we can get DFS to help them not to get in trouble, but to, hey, what to tap into their resources. We also have a community fund that we have through the police department. It's not city money, it's the local churches all donate money every year and then they refill it. And then they give it to us as the caretaker to do the right thing when it comes to handing it out, not just giving it out to people who are trying to get money. So if it comes to a movement thing and getting somebody along, yes, we've helped plenty of people get their tires fixed, get gas, get moving along to where they're trying to go. But yeah, we try to in some cases, but we probably only have about 2 a year related to the camping area. Actually, in the city, we probably deal with 20 to 30 a year in different situations.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, anybody else? Call for the question, Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on to new business action items. First on the agenda is approval of resolution 1311, amending the job description for mechanic series and creating a job description for the police department captain. Rachel.
So this resolution does just what it says. It would make the changes to the mechanic, supervisor and mechanic position that were discussed at the previous work session. Those were the changes in red. They updated some of the language. They codified the mechanic positions pay grade. Because there was something there that I'm not sure exactly what happened the first time around. There was a difference between what the job description said and what our salary matrix said. So cleans that up, changes the requirement for a CDL holder to a preferred requirement, not a required. And it does that on both of those. The other thing this resolution 1311 proposes to do is to document the job description and create the job description for the police department captain position, which was funded this budget cycle. That also was on the work session last time for discussion as well. And the next resolution then adds those to the salary structure should the council approve them.
Can get a motion. You have a question?
Yeah, so you guys already have a maintenance supervisor, correct? So this is just for a maintenance, basically the mechanic that works under the supervisor, right?
So these two, the shop supervisor and the mechanic job descriptions are not new. Those were existing job descriptions. There's one supervisor and one mechanic. This just updates and adds equal opportunity type language. And under the requirements, there's a few changes. It added, must be able to lift 50 pounds. And instead of requiring that these two positions have a CDL, that they be CDL holders, it changes it from that being a requirement to that being a preference rather than a requirement. As we all know, CDLs are like gold right now and hard to get.
Yes.
Those are the main changes. It also added to some of their skills, tasks, and duties, some technology skills. So we're moving towards that automation within the city. So it is not creating new bodies and it's not hiring a new supervisor, although the mechanic position has submitted his resignation. He intends to retire in December. So in anticipation of being able to advertise and rehire that position, we were updating the job descriptions. And when we were doing one, we're doing them both.
Oh, yeah, I got confused because the mechanic supervisor kept
Right.
getting brought up and I was like, I thought we already
To
had.
my knowledge, our supervisor is not leaving. I hope
Right.
that he's not. So that would be news to me. Just
Right.
when we were updating the job descriptions, because we were bringing them before council, we thought we'd do both of them to make those changes. But we'll only be seeking a mechanic.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
A motion by Councilman White, second by Councilman Cox to approve resolution 1311. Any more questions or discussion? Councilman Larson will call for the question.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on is item B. Rachel just talked about that, moving that into the salary structure within the city of Lander. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve resolution 1312.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Cobb, second by Councilwoman Larson to approve resolution 1312, amending the salary structure. Questions, call for question, Jayhan?
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on, next topic. Lead a recommendation for lift funds. Do we want to do these one at a time as the way you approach that? With your amendment?
Yes, Mayor, I would love to be able to do that one at a time.
May I ask a quick question, just
Yeah,
a
she may.
procedural question? I certainly don't want to give out any more information than we should.
Right.
I feel like that would be an error on our part. So I guess just parameter wise, what are we comfortable?
I think all I would be comfortable with would be reading the name and what the funding was that was recommended for them.
And the reason I am, just for clarification, is for privacy purposes of,
Right.
of those who are trying to start a business.
So I don't know how we
something of
would do that,
nature.
Adam.
I don't know how confidential this stuff is. Obviously, it's a public record once it's been submitted. But certainly you want to use some discretion.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Hahn?
Yeah, I guess I want a little clarification here. Are you talking about discussing each one of these and voting yes or no on them?
That's correct. That was a recommendation council made to LIDA previously. That would be helpful to actually vote by entity rather than lump sum. And my own perspective in this current review process, I think many of these bring up opportunities to continue to refine eligibility for lift funds and how those funds are awarded. So I think it'd be helpful to look at them individually rather than lump sum.
I have one question, though. This is the
Go ahead.
first time that, excuse me, Mayor. This is the first time that these did not make the grade. And so what you're talking about is going against everything that we have here and individually saying yes or no when they've all been, when none of these have been approved. Is that what you're saying?
So, Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead,
Councilman Hunt,
Councilman.
not quite. So Lyft made recommendations for funding. LIDA has a different opinion about those. LIDA's recommendation is to not fund any of these.
Okay.
LIDA is also very clear that ultimately the decision is ours as a council. So I think it bears having conversation about, and by no means do I expect these to necessarily be unanimous in that, but I do think there's opportunity for all of us to learn.
Okay.
And also, again, opportunity. I think some of the concerns that were brought by LIDA, broadly speaking, are also worthy of making some minor but important adjustments to the eligibility requirements and how funds are awarded. So I look at this as a tremendous learning and improvement opportunity for
Okay.
us.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Hahn?
So you want us to vote on something that we haven't looked at or seen or anything until right now? Did you know about this previous and look at it before we did, or?
If the information was sent to us, additional information was sent to us, was that on Friday?
No.
Or
Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead.
on that
Councilman.
point.
2 weeks.
So we received an initial level of information from LIDA, which is a summary of the different applications in our packet on Thursday. And then what you're looking at, Councilman Hahn, with the full report, that was forwarded to council. That was provided by LIDA on Monday and forwarded Monday night or Monday afternoon, I think. I'm just double checking that we all got that. Staff were out of the office on Monday, so I took the liberty of forwarding that to council And I'm just hoping I did everybody. Now that you're saying that. And it looks like I did, so I hope that is in your inbox. Granted, that's only a day's notice for this degree of detail.
Mr. Mayor, if everyone's uncomfortable with this, there are a couple options. You could table this until our next meeting and then vote on it then to give people a chance to be able to review it. That would probably be an option, or you could move forward and vote on it now and try and figure it out right now. So those would be your options.
Council,
I'd like to table it.
Okay.
Until we get some more information.
got a motion to
I
table this.
think this is a little too quick.
Can I get a second on that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I also want to remind you that within your Stacker login, you're able to see all of these applications and evaluations and progress reports. So please, if you haven't logged in yet or you're having problems, come see us and we can help you get in so that you can actually read and see what the reviewers had when they reviewed.
okay.
Thank you for reading that, but it's true, what we don't see are the lift scoring of that. And then nice to have this additional information. So we do have a motion on the
Motion to
floor to
table.
table.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second, a motion by Councilman Dehan, a second by Councilman Jehan to table it. I'm gonna call for the question. Councilman Larson,
No.
No,
Yes,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
motion carries, we table it. Okay, moving on.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am, you may.
Sorry, one point on that. Councilman Han, you asked for more information. I think we should specify what that more needs to be. I will say my support for tabling that was just because we only had 24 hours for some council people to read this full report. And that's not sufficient. And so if we need more information, I think we should specify what the more is. If it's just time to review the report that we were given yesterday, let's just take that time.
yeah, I'd like to know why why they made their decision. I mean, I'd like to know that.
Mayor, if I
Yes.
may, in that respect, if lead is okay with me responding as their liaison. They met on these, lift committee made their recommendations. LIDA reviews it as that's the procedure in place right now, and they're based on their overseeing that and looking at the requests. They did not think they met the level of economic development that our city is moving forward with. For specific reasons. And so that was their recommendation.
May I make a comment?
Yes, you may.
What's interesting to me is, this is the first time this has happened.
Mhm.
And we've had a lot of discussion, on a lot of different, views that we have and concerns. I just need more information because obviously this is way different than we're dealing with.
It
We've
is.
been dealing with.
It is, so,
Thank you, Mayor.
thank you. Okay, let's move on.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
if I may just clarify, I'm sorry to interject
Go
myself.
ahead.
So the motion was made by Councilmember Han to table. And I'd just like to point out that that will be tabled then to the next regular session, October 24th, 2023.
okay. All right, now we'll move on. Approval of Table Mountain subdivision. Regine?
Thank you, Mayor. Table Mountain subdivision is taking the city-owned property that the Table Mountain Living Community will be on. That's our assisted memory care facility. And the city staff thought it best to make this a plat so that we could apply for funding and loans, as you guys have heard before. So Planning Commission has looked at this and they recommend it for approval.
Can I get a motion in a second? Have discussion.
move to approve the Table Mountain subdivision.
Second.
Second.
A motion by Councilman White, second by Councilwoman Cox to approve Table Mountain subdivision. Questions, discussion? Since there is none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on to item E. Approval of the rededication of Bishop Roundel Drive to confirm as built street extending into the Table Mountain subdivision. Regine?
Thank you again. The planning commission, these were actually one document, the subdivision and the rededication. The planning commission and the county planner requested that they be two separate items so that they're more searchable in the county courthouse in the future. So the planning commission does recommend approval of the rededication of Bishop Randall Drive.
Can I get a motion in a second?
Mayor, I move approval of the rededication of Bishop Randall Drive.
Can I get a second?
Second?
A motion by Councilwoman Stuvo, second by Councilwoman White. Gonna call for the question. If there's no discussion. Council,
Wait
you
just a
got a
second.
question?
Yeah, I
Go
did.
ahead.
Maybe you just answered that and I didn't hear it, but tell me what it means to rededicate it.
It's all across city land. So it was dedicated as a street in the nineties. And then it was not built within its dedicated right of way. So this rededication will change the old boundary and the original dedication to match the existing street location. And then will also extend it into the Table Mountain plat.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Anybody else? Good question. Yep. Call for the question, Councilman Hahn. Okay.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to item F. Authorize the mayor to sign the MOU between Fremont County Pioneer Museum and the city of Lander for the joint operations of the Welcoming Center. Reggie?
Thank you, Mayor. We discussed this at the last work session. There have been no changes since then that you guys requested, and Adam has reviewed this agreement. But I would answer any questions that you have.
Questions? Can I get a motion?
I would move to approve the MOU between Fremont County Pioneer Museum and the city of Lander.
Get a second.
Second.
That motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilwoman Cox. Then call for the question. Is there any more discussion? Okay, Councilman Larson?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's good. Got a motion? I need a second.
Although it seems way too short for us. I mean.
Second.
Second. I got a motion to adjourn by Councilman White, second by Councilman Cox. Call for the question, Councilman Larson?
Yes.
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 Yes. Meeting's adjourned.
Hey.